welcome to Pulse by AlphaWire, the podcast where science and education meet cutting-edge technology and artificial intelligence. My name is Aldo de Pap, and each week I sit down with innovators, thinkers and doers who are working to change our world for the better. Together we explore their journeys, uncover the lessons they've learned, and take the entrepreneurial pulse that drives them on their path to success.
A very warm welcome to a new episode of Pulse. For this next interview, I'm very happy to be speaking to His Excellency Mr. Sayasat Nurbek, the Minister of Science and Higher Education of Kazakhstan. Now, what I found very interesting about this interview is that Mr. Nurbek isn't your ordinary minister, especially when it comes to finding things that work in the rapidly evolving world of science and education. Next to a career in public life, my guest was also the founder and CEO of BTS Education, a leading edtech company in his country. So undoubtedly, he knows a lot about the struggles that an entrepreneur needs to endure, as he knows about how to support his country as a minister taking care of a very ambitiously growing portfolio. Sincerely hope you will enjoy my conversation with His Excellency Minister Sayasat Nurbek of Kazakhstan. I have the great honor to sit here with His Excellency Sayasat Nurbek, the Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Mr. Nurbek, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is first of all, how is your WISE going?
Great. I mean, it's my third time I'm attending WISE, and I was at the very first edition of WISE many years ago. I was a young entrepreneur back then, and it grew before my eyes, basically, into this really sufficient platform where policymakers, ministers, entrepreneurs, educators, teachers gather around and we talk about future of education. We talk about problems. We talk about accelerator program. WISE Accelerators is now becoming very crucial part of this dialogue. So now you have young startup founders who come edtech mostly, who come and help teachers and educators and policymakers like myself tackle real-time problems.
This is so wonderful, and there's so much in there for me to unpack. First of all, I was also part of the WISE Accelerator back in 2015. And what I so much like about your profile is that you've been on both sides of the aisle. So you were an entrepreneur in education technology, and that grew to you becoming a minister. So first question is, which side's better?
Well, it has all pros and cons. Of course, when you're a policymaker, one of the biggest problems you have is restrictions. I mean, you're bound by policies and frameworks and legislation, and then you have so much responsibility. You can't really focus on something specific. You have to constantly monitor broad range of issues and challenges. When you're an entrepreneur, you have freedom. You can take one problem, focus on it, and deliver, real-time solution. So I miss those entrepreneurship days because when you had freedom, you had internal freedom. You were not bound by many policies, and you could really focus on something specific. It would give you a lot of satisfaction when you deliver something which is used by many people, which makes good, and you make money on top of it.
So I like what you're saying about you have more freedom. Your impact is
it's visible.
It's visible directly.
You make something. And as a policymaker, as it often happens, you have to worry about so many things and you have to take care of so many things. In the end, it looks like you haven't done anything, right? I mean, it's constant meetings and problems and phone calls and talking to citizens and trying to arrange and trying to survive in games of politics sometimes.
Trying to do that.
And it kind of drains all your energy. And in the end, you're like, what did I do? Did I have any impact? And that's the biggest problem.
And dare I ask, what made you become a minister?
Well, once the product we were developing back in the days became very successful. It's a career guidance platform, which actually helped thousands and thousands of students to find better jobs and find better skills, match the skills they had with job places and labor market. So we were very inspired by that because in the end, one of the key problems all education systems face is how to align the skills and competencies provided by education system with real-time world, with labor markets, so that people can get employed and can get best out of themselves. So when it was very successful, I learned that it's not the labor market, it's not the private sector, it's about education system itself. I mean, it's very conservative, it's not very fast. And really to change that very enormous inertia-based conservative system requires a lot of digital platforms. When you deliver new tools and you teach those new tools, only then you can make it faster. Yeah. So I took it as a big challenge for myself. And I was very lucky because the new president of Kazakhstan, Mr. Tokayev, he was looking for a few good men to start new reforms. And so he, I was approached by presidential administration, and I was very lucky to gain president's trust. And he said, well, look, I worked with bureaucrats. Let me try something different for change.
Nice.
And then you have really good stories around the world. Remember that famous founder of Gojek in Indonesia who became the Minister of Education? Yeah. And there are some good cases where people with different mindset come to policy making. Sometimes they have some really good impact. Yeah. So hopefully I'm making an impact to my country.
I'm sure you are. I like your energy. You indeed do not come across as a standard politician. You're here for it. You have good rigor and energy, and you want to put something on the map. And more importantly, you want to put Kazakhstan on the map. Yeah. Just before we clicked recording, you showed me this beautiful map, and we also have camera here. So if you were to allow me, we could hold it together. And you're talking here about the academic growth and research growth in Kazakhstan just over the recent years, right? So I'm looking here at a map with loads of names of international renowned research universities. So are you here also to see if there are more universities interested to come to Kazakhstan?
This is what's happening. Higher education is becoming a very rare commodity. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are billions and billions of young people out there who don't have access to higher education. And it's also the case for our region, a region of larger Eurasia, which used to be called Great Eurasia. There are more babies born in that particular region than anywhere in the world after Africa. Yeah. And so we're talking about over 1 billion young people below age of 25 who want to have some good education. So we said Kazakhstan can become that new academic hub for this entire region. And there are three forces helping us at the moment. One, the traditional academic mobility centers like North America, UK, Europe, Australia, all restricting their visas and immigration policies. Less and less international students. Two, the new players in the game, like Qatar, like Saudi, like Turkey, like South Korea. So Kazakhstan is now one of these players. And we've just been nominated by Times Higher Education as one of the top 14 new academic destinations. Over 35,000 international students coming to Kazakhstan.
Wow.
And now the purchasing power is growing, middle class is growing in the region, so the percentage of household income allocated to education is one of the highest in the world. Wow. So that Asian mentality helps. Parents literally would sell everything to make sure their students have the best shot at good education. And last thing is demographics. So there's a baby boom in our particular region. 500,000 babies born in Kazakhstan annually, 5 million in Pakistan, over almost 1 million in Uzbekistan, 60,000 babies daily in India. We're talking about 36 million babies annually. So a huge demand for education. So we were very lucky. We pushed it really hard. 40 solid research-intensive universities like Cardiff, Colorado School of Mines, UPenn, Anhalt, KAIST, Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Seoul. There's a great array of American, British, French, German, Russian, Chinese, Korean, Turkish, Italian universities who now came to Kazakhstan as new academic destinations. So I want to use this platform to call it out to all the people in the Middle East. If you want to have affordable, good education with very low living costs, and Kazakhstan has one of the lowest living costs in the region, you can come to Kazakhstan and get American degree, British degree, Russian degree, Chinese degree, French, Italian, German, Korean, Turkish degrees, 4-hour flight vicinity.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're a good hybrid, if you will, for people who are in the region. It's a cheaper way of actually going to top universities.
Going to top universities and getting good degrees.
And the degrees are the same, right? The same quality level.
Sure it's the same curricula. We've delivered by the very good faculty, both international and local and regional. And it's the same diplomas, and we're very focused on quality. So we have brought a British QAA, Quality Assurance Agency, to Kazakhstan. It is now registered as a Kazakh accreditation agency. So we're bringing same British accreditation standards to Kazakhstan. And now we're talking with NECHE, North England Commission for Higher Education, one of the top American accreditation agencies, to come to Kazakhstan. We have ratified all major conventions, Bologna, Lisbon, Eurasian Economic Union, and Tokyo Convention. So diplomas issued in Kazakhstan, if that's our ambition, will be globally accepted and globally employable. So it's a very good alternative if you're looking for affordable, high quality international diploma.
And hopefully also blossoming for the economy of Kazakhstan, so it becomes a new...
The best tourist you can ever have, it's called, there's a new term now, academic tourist. Because the normal tourist would come, would leave money, but for a very short period of time. An academic tourist comes and stays in your country for 4 years, drinks coffee, goes to cinema, travels around, pays for his tuition. For each, there's international statistics. One international student creates 3 jobs. So if 1,000 students come, 1,300 jobs provide services for this 1,000 students. So it's a good, profitable business. I mean, if you look at a business perspective. But the real idea is to transform our Kazakh education and provide technology transfer. We're a very rich country. We're blessed with oil and mineral resources and critical minerals. Kazakhstan has one of the largest deposits of rare earth metals. They call them critical minerals because they're crucial for any high-tech industry. These academic partnerships also bring big contracts, investment. Companies like we had a very big partnership now with Colorado School of Mines, #1 school of mines in the world. So now there's big mining companies that are really interested because Colorado can provide a high level of expertise and skills in mining, geology, geophysics. Another example would be University of Cardiff. We have large campus of Cardiff University in Astana. And thanks to it, AstraZeneca, companies like big pharma companies like AstraZeneca said, hey, interesting. Now you have really good, really solid medical and biomedical and biotechnology research university. So maybe we can bring some of our local R&D budget to regional studies because, in drug design, any drug has to be tested geographically in top 6 destinations. For this wider region, we said, hey, Kazakhstan could be a good place for this regional clinical testing. So there are all kinds of really interesting things happening in Kazakhstan. We are one of the first countries in the world to make AI compulsory for all a national curriculum.
That was going to be my next question, Minister, because we're here at humanity.io. We're talking about human flourishing after AI is kind of taken over. What's your perspective on that? Where do you see this going as a minister of a country?
We've worked really, really hard in Kazakhstan. How do we really harness the power of AI? AI revolution is happening. You can't avoid it. That's it. It's done. This huge breakthrough. And I'll teach you a very interesting thing today. So we call it AGBG. Before generative AI, everything that happened before generative AI was relevant for digital revolution. Now there's AG, after generative AI. Now we're entering into true AI age, true era of AI. Everything will change. Everything. The way we interact with digital platforms, apps, graphical user interfaces, everything will change. So one thing we know for sure, AI literacy has to be installed as early as elementary schools. United Arab Emirates, they started this September, this academic year, with kindergartens, as early as kindergartens. Why? This is what happened with social media. Humanity, the human being, we were not ready for social media. No, there were no classes, there were no safety, ethics classes. It was not installed on level of national. It just happened too fast. And this is the problem we have at the moment. All the worst in our nature is now spilled over on social media. Fake news, hatred, because there's no ethics, there's no journalism, ethics and standards and regulations. You can. Everybody's spilling out everything. And it's a big problem we have at the moment, right? But imagine there's much more powerful tool is coming, which very soon will be available to millions and millions of people, AI. because as it happened with any technology, it is a bit exclusive now.
Yeah.
It will become much cheaper, and everybody will be training their own LLMs on there, and then the real hell will break loose. I'm sure of it.
So everyone needs to be educated on how to use it.
So we made sure we teach our kids from elementary school how to use AI properly and where not to use AI or not to, train AI in certain things.
Yeah.
Do you know that the industry that benefited most out of this new AI thing is pornography? Because there are tons and tons of these AI-generated things. And it's a pity to see that this great tool that could change many things, that could deliver new era of scientific revolution, technological breakthrough, is used for fake news, producing images, funny pictures. Oh, my God. And so much electricity is burned, actually, to train those algorithms and deliver those nonsense. So our approach is, one, you need to start training massively, nationwide, make it part of your national curricula as soon as possible. Two, train people to use AI to boost their productivity, not just for fun. Back in Silicon Valley, there's a notion of ex-employee, someone who's very experienced. They can do things 10 times faster, better. We believe if we train students, all our students properly, anyone can become a 10x employee. Finally, delivering that great promise of AI to as many people as possible, to as many small and medium enterprises as possible.
Yeah. So you're a policy man. So what you're saying is, because I hear you, how we intend to do certain things versus how certain things play out.
Yeah.
Taking social media as an example, people introduced social media with kind of the idea to do good, right? No one was thinking about algorithms that, induce aggressivity, and that was the pickup of it from, yet it is an outcome, right? A nasty side effect. Even though I think your intentions are great, what should be our approach to, as you say, like when to use AI, when not to use AI? What is the best approach to this? Because we need to learn from our mistakes, but at the same time, we're also looking at something that is, in some ways, is completely new to us, right? So it's a slippery slope, and I think policy. And that's why I'm happy I'm talking to a policymaker as well as an entrepreneur. I'll give you that. But as a policymaker, it's like, where does regulation need to kick in? Do you feel like at some point that you need to say this needs to be prohibited or abolished, or there needs to be age restrictions, or what kind of role do you think government has to play here? Yeah.
A road to heaven, to paradise, is paved by good intentions. So the whole community, academic community and expert community, is now divided into two parties, two camps. One camp says AI is evil and will diminish our academic reasoning, and there are some early surveys proving that, abstract thinking and really, and logical reasoning can be hindered, can be limited by excessive usage of AI.
Yeah.
And so, and the second part says, no, AI is a very powerful tool. If it's used properly, we can boost our academic performance. Mogawat, the former head of business development at Google X today, made an introduction. He said, well, look, if we can use this thing and teach it, use it properly, the IQ level, just huge boost for everything, productivity, performance, academic performance. So my take is, you can't, it's stupid to ban it, or over-regulate it, because you can kill that before it comes to its full potential. But certain regulations should be introduced, and we already introduced in case of Kazakhstan. We decided we will embrace AI. We will learn how to use AI, but with certain restrictions. For example, we've rewritten our academic policies. Students can use AI while writing their theses on several conditions. One, they have to cite the source.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And there's special, and if you don't cite the
AI
source. So this piece of my text was written by AI. I used it in this way. This is how I used it. This is why I used it. Which algorithm I used, DeepSeek, Gemini, Second, you can't use AI for your conclusion part.
Yeah.
And then now we run different platforms so that faculty members can check. There's tools involved. So anti-plagiarism, there's anti-AI platforms now.
Yeah.
So we're very strict about that, so that you have to use your own logic for a conclusion. You can use AI, but not for the whole thesis.
Yeah.
Right? And there are this kind of restrictions, and now we try to monitor it really closely, really strictly, so that students get used to that. Okay, it's a great tool. I can use it to help me in certain conditions, but I can't use it entirely. Yeah. So I think this kind of policies, it's my personal opinion, it's my personal take as policymakers, should be introduced at all levels. And companies like Google, all these big tech companies, they hunt for data. So again, there are several approaches. The European Union they came up with a very strict AI Act, very strict, which, might hinder innovation, might stop innovation. US is taking more conservative approaches that let's a new technology, let it develop, let it grow.
Yeah.
So we won't regulate it immediately. So in Kazakhstan, we have a hybrid of these two approaches. We introduced some regulations with new AI code and new AI laws, but not too strict. So there's room for growth, but we're very strict regarding the data protection, because data is new oil, data is proprietary, and we want to make sure citizens are not affected in a bad way, negative way, by use of these algorithms.
Yeah, I have
teaching is a big part of this equation.
I have one last question with regards to this, and then I appreciate your time because you're a very busy man. You've done loads of interviews, and hopefully we'll do a lot more, and more power to you. The problem I think many people see with regulation at times is the speed with which things are kind of, when government picks up on something, it has done already considerable damage. The technology has already done considerable damage. Now, I like the transparency thing that you said. You can write down, people need to be transparent, and that's already implemented. You, as who's been on both sides, as who has been a technology entrepreneur on one hand and now is minister, do you recognize that time lapse, that before it is something is recognized as a problem, we're years further and there might already be a new problem, which is, I think, a lot the problem of technology, that things evolve too quickly for government to catch up with it. And what would be your suggestion?
Too fast. Everything is happening too fast.
Yeah.
In the research, back in the days, it took about roughly 20 years before the fundamental research is translated into application. Now, less than a year now. Less than a year. DeepSeek, you had the fundamental research going on. Less than a year, you have a new algorithm rolled out on the market. So governments are now need to be really fast. So fast decision-making becomes your success criteria.
Yeah.
So back in the day, big used to eat small. Now fast eats the slow. Yeah. And governments have to rethink themselves. Yeah. Right. So that's why, people who with entrepreneurial background are quite successful nowadays in bureaucracy, because, we have an ambition and courage to make decisions. Yeah. Nassim Taleb, he's skin in the game. We have skin in the game. We know what you need to sacrifice to have good results. Good bureaucrat would never put his skin in the game. Never. No. His logic, that's his philosophy. No. If I can't take this responsibility, just let it drift. Yeah. Let it drift. Yeah. So I think that we need more decisive action. Yeah. We need governments who can take responsibility and fast decisions. I often describe myself as a founder minister. Yeah. I'm like running a startup. And the first principles: fail fast. Try, doesn't work. Try, doesn't work. Yeah. Because if you wait for the ideal situation, it might never come. And with speed of this technology, the speed of that change, you will always be late. Always. Yeah. You start to regulate something, everything has changed. Yeah. So speed and fail fast philosophy should be introduced at government. Yeah.
Wonderful talking to you, Minister. Very last question before I let you go, and this is a question I asked all my guests. What is your morning routine, if you have any? Do you have a specific morning routine?
I always start with like 15 to 20 minutes of good pieces of text during the day.
Reading or writing?
Reading. Just always reading in silence. Yeah. So during the day, I always have good pieces of information coming to me from all angles. Yeah. You can't really read them. So I have a special folder. I put them and said, this is for my morning reading. This is for my morning reading. So the first time of the day, I start with this kind of a meaningful text, so meaningful quotes or piece of information that I want to devour in silence. Yeah. With full concentration. Yeah. That's my morning routine.
That's a morning routine. And I think it's a good one. And you need to digest loads of information.
Because otherwise you won't be. It's mess.
Too many things. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure the world will hear a lot more about Kazakhstan with you steering it in its right direction. Thank you so much for your time, Minister Sayasat Nurbek. Thank you very much.
You've listened to Pulse by AlphaWire, produced by Natalie Piles and Amela Faisal, with great music, The Optimist, written by Holly Hamill, performed and produced by ALO. Episodes hosted weekly by me, Aldo de Pauw.